Right, let's look at this. So you'll see that there are two elements in terms of the rubric, a theory component and an application component. It's very clear what we expect. Your 80%, you can clearly see I'm frustrated about this because this is the wrong stuff. I don't know what has changed here. So this is 10 marks. So this would be 0 to 4. This would be 5 to 7. And this would be 8 to 10. And then, so these, yeah, and 6 to, so this is for 15 marks. That is 10 marks. So this should be, I'll make sure that an addendum goes out. 0 to 4, 5 to 11, my apologies. No, what am I doing? 0 to 4, 5 to 7, and 8 to 10. I'll update that, okay? I'll make sure that an addendum goes out. Okay, so here is the case study. What is important at this level, guys, is how you integrate theory and application. So it is absolutely essential that you have theory and that you have application and that there's an integration of these two elements. Please remember, the application is here. It doesn't mean, though, that this is what you're limited to. If you want to do additional research, you're most welcome to do additional research. I know that some of you haven't studied in a long time. So remember, we'll start every session with a 2-minute moment where you guys can ask questions about the assignment so that we can get ourselves into the routine of the assignment. So you can see very clear guidelines in terms of Uber and how it operates. I try as much as possible, guys, to give a lot of information and a lot of hints there. So if we look at this, I think, so 2020, 25. Yeah, so just to say that even though that's 100, I still want a single introduction and a single conclusion. I'll send out an addendum on this, guys. I think that, or I'll get someone to send out an addendum. So if we look here, Mintzberg, let's go to your slides. Your slides are here. Hold on. It's online. 2026, and then comp and the slides. So the easiest way to use these slides, guys, although I know that the answer isn't here, is to just go there and go GRIFFIN and see where it picks up. So it picks up Learning Unit 1 for us. I am in Learning Unit 1 here. Right, and we're looking at the different roles. It's not Griffin anyway. I typed the wrong thing. So for the managerial roles, you're looking here. So it's Learning Unit 1, slide 16. Learning Unit 1, slide 16. You absolutely can, Kensani. I'm not a big fan of Google Scholar, and I'm sure the librarian would talk to you guys about this. I prefer this kind of approach. Hold on a second. Let me do this. So if we do this, we can go Mintzberg, managerial roles, and then go scholarly articles. So I prefer to do it this way. Are you bugger? The AI catching me out. Mintzberg, managerial roles. Okay, let's stop. And then let's go there. So I would normally from there go, and you can do this for any search that is academic, scholarly articles. Okay, so there are definite options for you to look at. So yeah, this one I'm a little bit suspicious about. Management.com, business.com. This is definitely not peer reviewed. So you have to make sure that it's peer reviewed. So I wouldn't, that to me is a dodgy reference. And that's the problem with Scholar, with Google Scholar. You don't always get peer reviewed references. These are peer-reviewed references. So yes, you can use it, but be very careful that the articles you use are peer-reviewed. The librarian will take you through a variety of other things. Okay. So the first one is that one there. So can someone quickly tell me what page number this is in the textbook? Or if you've got the electronic textbook, which I, I put up there, I know it's the wrong edition, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Hold on. That was a bit silly. My apologies. Comp again, and then textbook. This is the one I shared on WhatsApp. No, not on WhatsApp. I shared this on Arc. I might have stuck it on WhatsApp as well. Okay. This edition is absolutely, absolutely fine. Easiest way to do this is to go Control F, MINTZBERG, and let's go. There they are. Okay, so page 12 in the electronic version of the textbook I shared. Thank you so much, Kensani. Page 14. So if we very quickly look at those roles again, you can see there's a bit of a discussion on those, and you can have additional information. Hold on. Right. So, in terms of the interpersonal roles, the rule around interpersonal roles is that these are those get along with people roles. These are those motivation, creating an environment where people can be fantastic, leadership kind of role, the figurehead, the person that essentially people turns to when there are crises. And then there's the liaison. It is this constantly engaging and making sure that we understand people's point of view, spending time with individuals, learning from them, sharing information with them in terms of the kind of building a relationship. And yes, I know there's an informational role there. So in essence, it's the get along with people roles. The informational roles is the stuff that allows an organization to keep itself aligned with the external environment. Remember, really successful organizations have a clear sense of what is happening in the external environment, and they also have a clear sense of what they need to do internally to adjust to the external environment. So when we look at the managerial roles, the first one is monitor. So this is where it's the ear to the ground stuff in terms of the external environment. This is where we get competitive intelligence from. It is tracking trends and changes in the environment. And remember, it's often in the pestle factors where these major changes will happen. And you'll remember pestle, political, economic, social, technological, in national, environmental, and then legal stuff. The second part is once you can see that there are trends and things starting to emerge from the environment, and that the organization would have to update its operations in order to survive the environment, that is when you share that information with the relevant individuals. So dissemination is sharing the information with people who need to take actions. Remember the thinking in terms of the decisional role, the informational role, is to allow people to have every bit of material available to keep the organization light on its feet, allow the organization to adjust very rapidly. And the spokesperson, this is the person that will interact with individuals, that will talk to external groupings, that will represent the organization in the newspaper, etc. Decisional roles, the first one isn't accurate, and I get a bit frustrated. It's more of an entrepreneurial role. It is an internal entrepreneur. So when we think of the decision role, it is those individuals that come up with new ideas, and those ideas often will become new innovations that will appear as a service or a product somewhere on a shelf. So the entrepreneurial role is the need for every single person in an organization to constantly think of new ideas, new plans, new business ideas, new products, new innovations. The disturbance handler is about managing conflict. It's not about suppressing conflict, because we know that a certain level of conflict is always positive because it promotes competition and it promotes energy. The resource allocator is the individual that decides in terms of budgets who gets what, and then the negotiator. And here, often when we think of the negotiator, it's that individual that will interact with the trade unions, that will go and speak to suppliers, the decisional roles. Any questions, comments on that one, guys? If we take the assignment, okay, 10 different roles, okay, and then obviously Uber is constantly facing challenges. And here, the key ingredient to doing really well with these assignments is to integrate theory and application. So discuss the theory, explain the theory, tell me about the role, and tell me where it would apply in terms of Uber. You'll see this little line appear every time. Integrate theory and application, as well as additional research will be required. I'm expecting at least, in addition to the textbook, 8 other sources, 8 other sources, peer-reviewed sources. Have you guys met with the librarian? Have you not met with the librarian yet? Oh gosh, no, I'm not muted. Guys, have you not met with the librarian? You haven't met with the librarian yet. This is week 3. Okay. The one rule that I have about this, guys, is that I want electronic referencing for my assignments. The software that I suggest you use is Zotero. So my suggestion is always to use Zotero. You can download Zotero. There are lots of recordings on how to use Zotero. I do not want manual referencing, because it is 2026. It's not 1926 anymore. Zotero is wonderful. Okay. I don't know if anyone has showed Zotero to you. Please ask the librarian to show you how to use Zotero, and you can tell them that Henny says he's not accepting manually referenced stuff. Okay. I want it done electronically. And you'll thank me later when we start doing research in second semester and you have to submit a 50-page document where there are 30 references. That is the logical way to go. Okay. First question. Any questions? Any comments about that one? Any concerns? Please remind me at the beginning of each session that we just spend 2 minutes talking about the assignment. I think in particular, the first assignment, guys, I think for me, the first assignment is the one that we've got to get perfect. Okay. The second one here, okay. So when we look at a system, yeah, so systems theory says that every element in an organization is connected to every other element. For a system to be successful, the organization as a whole needs to align itself perfectly with the external environment, and every element of the system internally needs to be perfectly aligned. So if we look at the systems theory, now, where is that? Okay, let's go back. I'm cheating, sorry. Systems. Okay, where's systems theory? Oh, come on. Theory, I'm not getting it. Theory. Let's see if it helps me that way. Are you bugger? Okay, let me find it quickly in here. I have a feeling that it is. Oh my goodness. Sorry, I'm just going to potluck it. I'm going to have to open every one. More organized lecturers would have done where they are beforehand, but then again, that's just boring. which is this. Oh my goodness me. No, I'm not having luck today. If it's not here, then I don't know where it is. Okay, here it is. Hold on. Uh, where is the systems theory? Okay, so guys, we're looking at enable editing. We're looking at flipping heck. We're looking at learning unit 4, and we're looking at slides 25 and 26. Okay. Learning unit 4, slides 25 and 26. Can I ask somebody to please put these guidelines on the WhatsApp group as well, so that people that aren't here have access to it, although the recording will appear on YouTube and you can work from there. So I spoke about a system being all these elements working together. Every single organization is an open system. An open system is where the entity is impacted by the external environment, and where we also, in terms of what we produce, will appear as products or services in the external environment. There are very few closed systems nowadays, and then subsystems would be the different elements within the organization. So if we look at the systems perspective, I think the one thing we know about the ideal system is that it has synergy. And who wants to tell me what synergy is? How do we define synergy as a mathematical thing? It is 1 plus 1 equals 3. What does synergy mean? The focus all the time of an organization is to build synergy, where 1 plus 1 is 3. Anyone? Remember, synergy happens when the whole, the 3, is greater than the sum of its parts. So if we look at McLaren in motor racing last year, everyone has similar budgets, everyone has similar technology, everyone has drivers of similar skill. However, no, who said I don't accept Harvard referencing? Of course you're doing Harvard referencing. I said I'm not accepting manual referencing. Come on, Jay, my goodness me. Minus for 40% for that one. You have to do Harvard referencing, but I don't accept manual referencing, where you reference by going and typing and creating your own references. I want electronic referencing. Mine is bazillion percent. No, no, I want it done electronically. Go, Yonwaba.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, since you're saying you're not accepting manual referencing, so do you recommend Zotero, or is that what we're supposed to use? Or can we use
You're
something
going to
like
use,
EndNote or Mendeley, or must it
if you're
just
comfortable with EndNote and Mendeley, that's absolutely fine. I just think Zotero is a lot more powerful. But if you want
okay.
to use EndNote, Mendeley, or if you want to use the referencing option in Word, I'm quite happy for you to do it. So
Oh,
if you go here, references, you've changed the style to, come on, oh, wonderful. It doesn't even allow us to do anything else. Yeah, because I've got the online version here. Um, whichever one you want, John Wamba, whichever one you want. I think Zotero is the most powerful. Okay. And it's not about now, guys. It is about the end of the year, when you have to do a research project. Then you will thank me that you've done it electronically. Okay. Right. So, in terms of synergy, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. I think that's what organizations strive for. So, in terms of the systems perspective, what happens is you get the inputs from the external environment. Those inputs go through a transformation process. And then if you do it well, you get excellent profits, excellent products and services. You create a wonderful work environment for individuals. So from a systems perspective, I think the important part is the notion that internally things need to align perfectly with each other as well as externally. I'm just going to find paint here quickly. Yeah, I should be using my writing pad and not my mouse. But there's a wonderful theory, and the theory is called the congruency theory. And the congruency theory argue that every organization has these elements. The organization will have a people element in terms of people's skills, competencies, abilities, personalities, etc. It would have a culture, an organizational culture perspective that whenever someone says that's how we do business around here, it would have a task perspective. This would be the different tasks that get performed in an organization, and it would have a systems perspective, which are the formal organizational arrangements. If you have synergy, these elements perfectly align with each other, and they also perfectly align with the external environment. So from a systems perspective, you want to make sure that the organization internally, and I'm just using this theory in terms of people, in terms of systems, in terms of culture, and in terms of tasks, perfectly aligned. And as a whole, that then aligns with the external environment and constantly updates itself in order to track the external environment. So if there are changes, if, for example, new competitors come in, there's new legislation in South Africa, where there's a push for Uber drivers to be protected by labor law, etc. All of those things act as your inputs. And then it's about making sure that internally you have the right technology, the systems, the administrative stuff, the people, the other bits and pieces to give you these kinds of positive outputs. Okay, so the second question is on the systems theory. Apologies for that. There it is. Any questions, any comments, any concerns about that one? Everyone is so quiet. Are you guys much nicer and more interactive with your other lecturer? Because I'm starting to get the impression it might be me. Okay, the next one there, guys. We talk about internal and external environments. External environment, the general and the task environment. Here, what I want you to do is to do a comprehensive analysis of the external environment. So we are going to look at both the factors in the industry, and we are going to look at the factors in amongst the pestle type options. So when we look at this one here, right, so it's not that, it's learning unit 3. Is it 3A? Okay, so you're looking at learning unit 3A, and you are looking at slides 5. Okay, but remember the two elements you're looking at are these here: the competitors, the customers, the suppliers, strat partners, and regulators. But you're also going to do a pestle analysis. What is important in terms of this pestle analysis, I prefer the term I spent analysis. I spent international, social, political, economic, natural, and technological. So whether you use pestle or I spent, pestle doesn't cater for international. Okay, so those are sort of global issues that affect you. We know, definitely know that Uber is a global organization. So, oh goodness me. Okay, so what you need to do here is do an analysis of Uber's environment. You will tell me the kind of customers and customer needs there are. You'll tell me about competitors, whether they are new competitors, what the competitors are doing, what the suppliers, etc., are doing. In terms of political legal dimension, the one thing I want to share, and I will stick it on the WhatsApp group because it is really, really powerful. Just hold on a second. Let me see if I can cheat and just find it on here. PESTEL. I wonder if it's this document here. Okay, I'll stick this on the WhatsApp group, guys. And this gives you specifics around what forms part of the pestle elements. This is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful piece of explanation. So in terms of political government policy, corruption, and anything that relates to government, please hold on a second. Okay. Economic, you'll see there, economic growth, exchange rate, interest rates, all of those economic, GDP and things like that. Social, these would relate to values, population growth rate, attitudes towards things. You can see some of the elements that are included there. And then technology, advances in technology, AI, automation, weather, climate, the sort of climate change issues in terms of the natural environment, and then legal, you can see what's there. But remember here, the I is missing, and that's why I prefer I spent, and legal and political go together. Do you want me to stick this on the WhatsApp group?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll stick it on right now. Gosh, okay, plus document. Can I just ask, which other subject are you guys doing while you're doing this with me? Hold on, hold on, hold on. It's just having a wonderful rain session out here. Okay, it is on the WhatsApp group now. Okay. What's nice about this is you can actually just say government policy is pro this idea. I mean, some of the stuff you'll deal with there would be taxis and all of that in South Africa as well. Okay, so you'll do a pestle analysis. Guys, here you still have to discuss what each pestle element means, but you need to tell me in terms of that particular pestle element, what is the stuff affecting Uber? What are the things that Uber has to take notice of in order to keep itself aligned with the external environment? Thanks for that, guys. Okay, FIM and project management. Okay. Applied accounting, fine. Okay, those are tough subjects. Okay, guys, and then the last one, managerial ethics. So in terms of managerial ethics, I think, yeah, you can see there's a decision there that Uber wants to take. Let me open this. Okay, and yeah, advertising on vehicles. Already, we know that Uber drivers are sitting ducks. And for me as a South African, I would be very nervous to get into an Uber that advertises because, those are the kinds of things. So you'll see that we'll go into ethical decision making. Now, you may agree with it, you might disagree with it. Is it a purely business decision? It doesn't really matter the way you see it. It's the way that you argue it. I did see ethics. Right, ethical. Hold on a second. I just want to make sure that I have the right one here. Can I quickly just check the question again, guys? Sorry. Okay, managerial ethics. The guide to ethical decision making in the textbook. The guide to ethical decision making. And my apologies, I should know where this is actually. So it is Learning Unit 4. Sorry, I'm talking rubbish. Learning Unit 3B, and it is figure 4.2. This is a really powerful way of making sure that from an ethical perspective, you are doing the right thing. So the first thing to do is around the facts. So remember, you are helping them take this decision. So please share the kind of facts that you believe will apply. So for me, one of the facts is advertising on Ubers will make them even to a greater extent sitting targets. But there are other facts, as a business decision, as a way for drivers to earn extra income. There's so many things that you can look at there. Okay, so go and look also what the rules are in terms of any piece of legislation that guides their operation. From there, I think you look at 4 ethical norms and then decide in terms of these ethical norms whether it is the right decision. In terms of utility, it is this decision, does it serve the greater good? Is it provide the greater good? Is it about taking a decision that benefits the bigger group of individuals? The second one, it is about the rights and duties of those individuals. Does this decision respect their rights and duties? There are lots of stuff. Remember, Uber drivers, the vehicle is their own vehicle. Eh? They simply allow Uber to, or they use Uber for the app to link people to their specific Uber. Justice, is this fair, is this consistent? And then caring, I think, does that take note of your responsibility to care? I'm looking forward to this answer, guys, because it's going to require a bit of thinking and a bit of arguing. So don't just arrive at the decision. Look at it in terms of the facts that you've gathered. Look at it in terms of those ethical norms. Discuss each of the norms. Discuss how it applies in terms of that particular norm, how this decision to advertise applies. And then look then at each of these. So the guys, is if there are no specific criteria, then whatever you want to do is that you are taking an unethical decision. If it meets 1 or 2 criteria, then you can look at other extenuating circumstances and make sure that you test this and retest it. If it's yes on all criteria, if it meets all those criteria, then you can argue that the decision is ethical. It is a wonderful, wonderful flow chart of taking decisions. If it doesn't meet any of those, then it's a simple no to advertising. I'm looking forward to your answers in this one, guys, because I have very strong opinions about this, but my opinions might be wrong. To also just say, guys, the one thing, if you disagree with my opinions, I 100% accept it. As long as you can back up your disagreement with some sort of idea of an argument and some sort of counter and pro arguments. Oh, don't worry about that, Pico. We're recording tonight. Guys, yeah, I know that life happens, so I'm never fussed if people arrive late. But welcome, Pico, anyway. So we're looking at Learning Unit 3B, and you're looking at slide 11. Okay, so let's quickly just look at where these are in the textbook. Okay, so that's, oh, goodness me. Okay, sorry, I did skip that. In terms of systems theory, let's have a glance at this quickly in the textbook that I shared with you. Come on. Where is the textbook gone? But I'm opening the textbook and it's not opening. Okay, in terms of systems theory, I don't know if we can search it. We might be lucky. Oh, it's slow. Okay. Oh, there are too many of them there. Hold on. So you're looking at page, as you're looking at pages 46, but you're looking at particularly, there it is, my apologies, page 44. So you're looking at page 44 in my textbook that I've shared, and page 45. Page 44 and 45 for the systems theory. And then for the environment, you are looking at learning unit 3, and specifically, there's quite a lot here, guys, from pages 61, page 61, and we'll carry on till, my goodness me, page 68, 61 to 68 in the textbook that I've shared with you. And then the next one there, come on. Okay, managerial ethics in terms of the textbook. So we're looking at the decision-making one. Where is decision-making? Ethics. Try and go back here. I know there are too many. Don't know if I'm going to find it immediately. Okay, it is definitely this learning unit. Sorry, this is a little bit cumbersome. My apologies. Honestly, this edition is absolutely fine, Kensani. It is up to date. So, guys, it's page 96 in the textbook. Yeah, page 96 in the textbook. And then you can look at pages 93 to 96, but the key one is 96. I don't know which edition it is, Kinsani. It doesn't really matter. The editions have not changed much. So we've got the 11th edition here. I don't know what edition your textbook is. This one is absolutely fine. And remember, I set the assignments and I use this for the rubrics, guys. Any questions at this stage? Any concerns? Who's nervous about the assignment? I think the quicker you start with the assignment, guys, yeah, no, it's good to be nervous. As long as you don't have blind panic, being a bit nervous puts you on your toes. It's a good thing. Okay. The sooner you start, guys, the sooner we can start talking about what's going on and how you're struggling or what you found and what's not working in the assignment. Okay, this is the first one. I know for some of you, you haven't studied in a very long time. So I'm going to try and make this first assignment as, I'm going to say, pain-free as possible. Okay, so the moment you start, and I know you've got other subjects as well. When is this assignment due?
The 31st of March.
30